So to be honest, I was kind of disappointed with WIMI today. Had a huge run pre-market from the close of $15 on Friday and ran up to all the way almost $40 pre-market, but it sold off everything. And even after the open, it was kind of choppy and never gave us a really clean breakout or a breakdown for that matter. So, read on this name mostly from the locate to short, and I didn't even use that much short size just because it was just so choppy. And I considered some short here, but I was thinking they're gonna squeeze it up even more, but it just never happened. I had some long trades on the scalp on the front side, and I did short some here, and I took a loss on the short side and more long here. But overall, it was just not a clean trading day for the stock. It was really choppy, so even the longs and shorts are mostly just scalps for me. So I am red on this ticker just because the locates were extremely expensive. They were about 32 cents per share, so that adds up quickly, and I barely used any size. Get to use any size on this stock, so I'm just kind of disappointed with this. So overall, red on this ticker. The ticker I did much better on is NETE, and same thing, I had a long on the scalps on the front side and shorted the back side over here. And the reason I was comfortable to long the front side is because I traded the same ticker on, I think, this day. So June, I think that's the start of my quarantine in the hotel room. I specifically remember the way it trades is exactly like this. It likes to spike at the open, sell off, consolidate, and do one more spike, and that if this spike does fail the double top, it's gonna sell off and give back the entire gain, which it did later in the day, but I didn't hold on to it. So scalped long on the dips. When I'm loaning these trash low float stocks, I want to make sure it's a dip to support level, right? So I'm scalping some here, 17, so selling to 1750, all out by 18, and doing the same around here, 1640s, and selling into 1617. It would have been nice if I could get this big move to 18 and 19, but with these trash names, you want to be careful, right? So I was out of the long here, and this is where I started in shorted starter, 1840s. Should have added on 19, but I didn't get to add. Covered some and added even more after we confirmed breaking down of the $16.30, $16 area support. I think we could see a fade a lot to the downside. Reshorted, covered some, reshorted some more, and covered, and I was all out. Missed this downside, but I'm okay with this. You have to be okay with taking the meat of the move and not getting chopped up in like a low volume grind. So very nice trader on this name, both long and short. The other stock I traded on the long side was actually Tesla. I traded the front side of the move, right? In the early in the morning, Tesla had a huge breakout, and I'm just buying the first major dip. So first entry 1703s. I want to add once we reclaim VWAP. I added here, but now here in this area, this is where it seems that we're gonna break down. So I trimmed the position, but added back in after we reclaimed VWAP really quickly. Added back in, added to full size, and this is where I was looking for a clean push to test 1790s. We didn't get that. The most we got was 1773, so that's kind of off from my price target. But if price action is not right, if it's not even strong enough to test the highs, it's probably gonna roll over. So I want to protect my gains. After all, I've been long since 1703, right? So even after the average, I still have a nice average of 1740s. So, locking in profits at 1760s here, it's still not bad. It's a smaller win than I had anticipated, but you just gotta protect your downside. Because if I didn't take my profits, this is what would have happened. So, gotta be, trade your plan and plan your trade and, rinse and repeat. We're gonna do the same thing again tomorrow. So, it's a pretty frustrating day. Still in the green, but sometimes as a trader, there's usually 4 results that you want, right? Either break even, small loss, small win, or a very big win. And sometimes on the way to a very big win, you have to accept the fact that a trade that could be turned into either a small win or a break even, or even a small loss. So So there were a couple of trades that, I definitely, did plan for it to be a big win. The setup was there, the price action was there, but it just didn't end up working out, and I had to turn into a small loss and a pretty much like scratch trade, small win. And one of those trades was Tesla. I had a long bias early on, but when we failed to break above this 1600 mark, that's when I thought, okay, we have a lot of downside. And at the time, the S&P 500 was also rolling over, right? So, for Tesla, on a stock like this that's been so extended on the daily chart, there's definitely a lot of room to fall. So, I scaled in shorts here and over here, and once we go red to green is when I thought, okay, we're probably gonna get a lot of downside. And I did cover some, but it was very minuscule. Like, I thought we would really test the lower range of 1420s and then 1400s, but we just didn't get that. You can see after this flush we reclaimed really quickly, and pretty much just never went back down. So I did have a re-add here, thinking that could be just a bounce and we're gonna continue seeing more downside. But the market was just kind of did everyone the dirty. I feel like the market just kind of did a bear trap today. At the time it looks like everything was panicking, everything was selling off, but we just kind of reclaimed really quickly with some news, etc. But so this Tesla short, if you look on this chart, this is literally $100 bounce. So imagine how much profit was given back. Still ended up being pretty much a scratch trade, not really a loss, but the amount of money given back was a little bit frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. And it's a really similar thing with Roku. So actually my Roku short turned into a small loss, which is okay, because it really, same as Tesla trade, it really did have a lot of downside to give in my eyes. And ideally I should have covered some into 142s because that's one of the targets. But, the price action at the time really just, sometimes, when I have, a good plan, a good trade, a good size, and a good average, I want to let it ride for as long as possible. Plenty I should have covered, but starting in small, short, because it's similar trade as Tesla's, a similar setup. On the daily chart, we're pretty extended, and we're going red on the day, and scaled in here, I'm really happy with the scale, and so that gave me a really nice average after this ad, about 147.50s. Maybe I should have taken this 5-point short and cover some here, but I had a lot of room to add. That's the thing, because I was scaling in slowly, right? Same as the Tesla trade. I did have a re-add here on this bounce, and this is where I covered the first ad, thinking that, okay, I want to give it some room. I don't want to size in too big, too quickly. I want to see how it reacts to this 147th level. And when we start reclaiming and SPY was, going red to green, and it just doesn't seem like at the time we're gonna sell off anymore, and the selling pressure, all the panic seems like it disappeared all of a sudden. And you have to respect the trend. When we put in a double bottom on the bigger market, Roku, it was kind of doing the same thing. So at the end, a very nice potential big win turned into a small loss, which I'm perfectly okay with. It's not about the P&L, it's about the process. I still stuck with my plan. So those were the two trades that turned out to be either a small win or a small loss. INMB, so really low float stock. The stock closed at like here, $9. And it went all the way to $22 pre-market. So somebody do the math. That's like a 200% gain on the day pre-market. It's a low float stock. That's one of the reasons why. And when the momentum shifts, I started shorting some pre-market, small size, and when it starts working immediately, that's amazing. And I re-shorted on this pop, added some more, and covered into the flush. And right here, well, you can see some pre-market levels around here. I was hoping we're gonna test 13 or 12.50s. We didn't get that. And this is where, I was saying that, okay, we're potentially having a double bottom. And I actually covered everything and put on a small long. It was the long was so small that I never got to add, because this stock is extremely strange. You can see it doesn't trend. It just kind of does like a V shape up and down, right? So it's like a V shape here, and like went all the way up and all the way down and then goes all the way back up. So, a very strange price action. So, I had a small, small long here, never got to add. It was so small. It never got to add. And, I was happy to sell at this point. I was like, oh, wow, like even if you had just 100, this stock literally went up 5-6 points. I'll take it. But, of course, I wish I had more size, but no one would have known this was gonna do a V shape upwards as well. And at this point is where I started going short. I did get squeezed here. You can see I had a small cover, but I did try to add, and I got squeezed here, add here, and I got squeezed here, and that's fine, right? You have to respect your stop, because at the time it did seem like we're gonna reclaim this 23s and squeeze all the way to 25, 27. And when we got this 23, I covered all of the short, took a loss. It's a decent sized loss, but it's okay, right? You have to respect your stop. But once we start rejecting these highs again, the 24s, you see this wicks here? It means what the breakouts are being sold into. It means that could either just be a short squeeze, or someone selling at the top, or a little bit of both, right? Here is after the rejection at 24s is where I scaled back short, 23, 25s. But sadly, the size was nowhere as decent as I had earlier when I had started scaling in. So, it is what it is, I guess. Lots of disappointments today. 23, 20s I shorted, and right after I shorted, it kind of just started flushing, covered some partial. I did get a re-short here, but when we start holding this 1950s, 1920s areas where I covered everything, and missed a lot of downside. And but it is what it is. And at the time, I was also very tired from the Roku and Tesla short, so I was just kind of leaving it be. So ended up being a decent win, but I think I was still upset about the Roku and Tesla trade. But it is what it is. You can only plan for your trades and execute to the best you can. Whether it's a small loss, small win, break even, or a big win, You can't just, always get what you want in the market. You have to take what the market gives you. So INMB was decent. The other trade that was the most straightforward trade was IMV. This one, I also took a loss early on, which is perfectly okay, right? Like I said, you wanna, if your plan is not working, cut your loss. You can always re-enter later. So I took a small loss pre-market on the short side, but around this area is where I re-entered, seeing a lot of sellers coming in around the $8 area. And so I joined the sellers, re-entered short, re-added at the open on the 620s rejection, and then I did recover some, thinking that we're gonna reclaim 620s and go higher. Once we fail again, I put it back, and that gave us a nice downside hold, and I covered most of it here on 490s and was out at $5. So you see what I mean? Sometimes you have to take small losers in order to get a big win. This is one of those examples. You have to take small paper cuts until you are right on your setup that gives you a big win. So this is kind of what I mean. It doesn't always make sense, but it is what it is, right? That's kind of the trades from today. Still ended the green, but I'm just... You can't help but being a little bit upset with some trades that, that would have been a very nice winner. So pretty wild market today. Started off as kind of slow for the small caps, and the large caps were kind of chopping around, but then Gene showed up all of a sudden. If you traded Gene before, this company, you know why they are popping with a brand new COVID-19 PR, extremely dirty filings, dilution, and they definitely seems like they're due to raise soon. So I did short for like a small win, but it wasn't much. As you can see, the bids were just holding too strong around 480s, and they literally squeezed to $7. But I'm all done for the day. Jing is actually just one of the scratch trades I had. The biggest trade for me was MRNA. So I had a long and a short thesis, but the short happened first, and I did have a long after the short is done. We identified a key support level of $85. Once that's broken really quickly at the open, I jumped in short, covered some on the flush, and mRNA is one of those stocks that when momentum is strong to the downside, it sells off a lot. And you can say I did cover a little bit too soon. I tried to scale back in and re-added, but I did cover all of the short here, thinking that we might start grinding up, but I tried to long, the long didn't work, and I flipped short, so it did look kind of messy here. But there's a few small long trades and then a short trade on here. I did lose on a long trade on this part. The long didn't start working until we put in this bottom, and this is why I flipped long, longed here, longed some more. That's considered cheap at the moment. If you're risking $82, we got a push towards 85.50. That's where I was all out. I was out about 3/4 of my long, holding for a potential squeeze move. When we didn't get it, I was all out of my long. I did have a few more long scalps over here to give back. In hindsight, of course, looks like I should have scaled back in short. But at the time, I didn't see that the market was rolling over as well, and we are indeed fading down to 78. Now we're having a temporary bounce, but would have been nice to catch this backside move to short as well. But I'm happy with both my short and my long trades. I was a bit distracted because I was also trading JRJC. Yeah, another one of those Chinese stocks. Low float stock, the stock was up 300 or 400%, all the way to $31 from $9. That's just insane. And guess what the PR was? It was just about they're getting direct access, Newswire or some BS from Dow Jones. Like that's just complete BS news, and the stock is up 300%. So that's why I was a little bit more short biased on the stock. It is a low float. So, I kind of started trading it just like I did on INMB yesterday. Really similar price range, lower float. Started scaling in small, scaling in some more. But I want to wait till the open to add to full size. And we did get a nice push to 29. So 21.9 and then later on 31, that's where I got a very nice size, and I had a pretty nice average about 29, low 29s, and pretty nice average, and I shorted, covered some, and covered most into this dump over here. So that was a pretty decent, $4 or $5 a share on the short side. But this is why I started scaling back in short again. Shorted some, covered some more, and then the squeeze was a perfect opportunity to add back to a pretty decent short size around 27.50s and some more around 29.50s. I did cover some just to start paying myself in case we start grinding and consolidate and make a new high, but we didn't. It stayed very, very heavy, and covered some, and it was mostly out here, and was all out on this hold down. We got halted on the way down, and was all out. So pretty straightforward trade, to be honest. It didn't give us that many headaches like a few other low float stocks did earlier in the week. So overall made pretty decent gain on the short side. On the long side, had pretty tiny lost about 50 cents a share, which is okay, and that was pretty stupid because I didn't take profit on the way up, and I know it as well. Loser of the day is Bowen. I did try a long here. You can see tried a long position around 184.20s, and when that didn't work, I took about 80 cents to $1 loss, but starter size, so I'm okay with that. And now we're kind of reclaiming and going back higher. Jing, it's a last trade on the day. Pretty small scalp, scratch trade. I'm done with the sticker, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do a midday offering on this stock. They've done this before, midday offering or offering tomorrow or the day after. This is their agenda every single time they push it up, just like PSTV and SNCR. So, I kind of want to short this and risking $7. So ended the week pretty nicely with VRNA and APDN. VRNA, I was short early on. The stock is easy to borrow. So when that happens and, the stock's easy to borrow, that means a lot of people have access to the short side. Then a lot of times that could lead to a short squeeze if momentum is to the upside and, all the shorts trying to cover at the same time. Then that's what could cause this kind of massive squeeze. And you can see the stock, squeezed all the way from pretty much 10 to 16, and then, sold off at the end of the day because the shorts are already squeezed out, right? So you gotta be careful if you are shorting these. I was short early on, and I took a loss here on this, squeeze, $10 to 11. I took a loss on the short side, and that's when I flipped long, and then, made some decent profit on the long side. So took a loss on the short, flipped long, and made out okay. You can't get in the habit of adding short on the way up. You kind of have to respect that. So short as some, you can see, just small scalps. But when we started holding this VWAP level around 930s and we're not breaking down, that's where I was covering my shorts here. I tried it again, risking, pre-market levels, thinking that we're gonna reject and slam back down. When we didn't do that and we actually squeezed into a hold, and at the on hold, I quickly covered for a loss, so that loss took out my profit from before on the scalp, which is okay because the loss is very much worth it, because after seeing the stock later on go even higher, then I'm glad I followed my rules. And this is where I did go back in for some small long scalps. It gets really messy around here, but I did have a long around here, a long here, and the final short scalp down here. But overall, I'm very happy about the way I traded this. I couldn't stick around any longer because I was getting ready for my Benzinga webinar, but very nice ticker. During the webinar, I was watching this stock on the side, and I was just like, oh man, I'm missing so much action. You can see the stock later reclaimed VWAP and squeezed all the way higher. So very nice runner, and I think it's about 8 or 9 million shares float. So definitely, hopefully it will give us another pop on Monday before just fading off. But the second stock I traded is a little bit more straightforward, is APDN. So this is a stock that I've traded many times before. I'm very familiar with the price action, and I know how to scale in slowly, especially if you start in pre-market. I had a small starter pre-market. The stock later squeezed to 17, but that's okay. In hindsight, I should have added at 17. But that was really early on, only around 7 a.m. I was thinking, I'm gonna come back and reassess at around 8 o'clock and see whether I want to cut it or add to my short. And that's a stock with a wide range, right? 17 all the way. It pretty much came from $9. So when it's trading this kind of volume, you don't want to put all your bullets into one shot, essentially. That even here at the open, you can see it was pretty weak. We didn't really get a pop I was looking for, but I still scaled in short slowly and added here around this $14 test. And when we failed, covered some just to pay myself, but I was holding majority because I know there's a lot of downside to fade. I covered out most of it for the Benzinga webinar. It started around 12. Obviously I don't want to have a full size position as I'm speaking in the webinar. And I was just looking on the side, seeing the stock is fading. I really wish I held it all the way to 10s, but my best cover was 11.40, so left around $1 to a downside on the table. But that's okay. This kind of stock, look at a daily chart, right? Every time it spikes, it never holds its gains. And that's what gave me the conviction to scale in short. Never, one full size in one arrow. It's about scaling in and managing the position and take it off as I see fit. Ended the week pretty pretty decently. I'm really happy about my discipline and the way I traded. If you guys want to check out the Benzinga webinar, I think it's now posted on the YouTube channel. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.